Hi, this is Taramis. In this video I'm going to tell you how defining a place name helped me to define a political system in my short story, Small Benefits. This story is set in a place called the Duchy of Nim. Earlier I talked about the Collegium Magisterium, a magic school in my tale, and how elaborating on that in a world-building sense helped me to discover the existence of an empire that had a cultural impact on the locale where the story takes place. Well, when I was thinking about the place name, something else was not right with that in a world-building sense. When I first wrote it, it flowed, it felt natural, it evoked something medieval, and that was fine, and there was no bigger context to be concerned about. But when I used it as part of world-building and role-playing game content, suddenly the place name mattered. The Duchy of Nim. The big hit I got off of this when I looked at it critically was, in this Nordic region with a Nordic culture, there are no dukes, there are no earls, not in the English medieval sense, which is kind of where I was drawing from for the vocabulary that I used. So why in the world would a place ruled by jarls with an elected king come to call itself a duchy? Why would it be ruled by a duke? Well, here suddenly I have the convenient existence of this empire I have discovered that used to have a political influence and used to control this area. So the answer became obvious. The empire itself had once upon a time created a dukedom here, a duchy that was part of another kingdom that now no longer exists. They had marched in with troops, arbitrarily reshaped some of the political landscape, marched away. So what lingers now is the name duchy and the title of duke, but this is out of sync with what actually goes on politically here now. Previously, the place had kind of a democratic government. They would have a moot. Jarls and thanes, who were property owners, would come. Everybody would have a voice. They would elect a king. In comes empire, appoints a duke, who at the time happened to be the elected king, made everything hereditary, and empire goes away. Still, we have King of the Hill here. Now, he no longer has popular support. He's not who would be elected today if they were going to have an election today. And there's tension between arbitrary autocratic ruler and the democratic traditions that continue in terms of how the rest of the country is actually governed on a day-to-day basis. So, out of the place name Duchy of Nim, I discover what the real governance system is here and what some of the underlying tensions and conflicts are. It's not relevant to the story Small Benefits, very much in the background, only hinted at merely by the place name. But as I start to world build and expand this so that it becomes a good setting to carry novel-length works and role-playing games, suddenly all this stuff really starts to matter. So that was my particular train of logic. Yours might be different if that had been your setting. But that's how I got there from here, was by examining a place name and saying, does this make sense in this context? And in fact, it did not. And so I came up with the rationale of why it existed, and that suggested a whole lot of other parts of the iceberg, of which that was only the tip. So, thanks for listening. Next video we'll talk about something else. Taramis signing off.